Hey guys, Neff here, and today I have a really interesting lock. I've been trying to get to it for a while, but it's just been kind of tough to figure it out, and the solution to it was actually pretty easy, but I think you guys will like it. So this is a lock made by ISEO, or ISEO, I've heard said. I'm not quite sure, but I don't think a lot of you guys in the States will have seen this. I think the lock's called a GERA lock. I think that's their model because it does say that right on the front here. If we can show you, there we go. ISEO GERA. What's interesting about this one is on the key itself, if you look here, there is a little element buried in the key. And what that is a magnet, which interfaces with a magnetic pin in the lock itself. So I'll talk about it a little bit as I start picking it, but there's some really interesting interactive elements within the lock. It's not the hardest pick ever, but it does take a minute to learn the trick. So let's get it put in the vise and see how it works out. Alrighty guys, we got her locked up in the vise. Before I zoom in, I did want to show you that today I am going to try a speaker and a sound pickup on the lock to see if we can hear the interactive element as I start messing with that. So this is the first time I've tried that. One day I'll talk about what I bought and how it works out for me. But let's see how it works. Today, for some of this, I will actually be using a pick that I bought, just a one-off pick from, I believe, Lockpick Shop, and then the Southard grips I bought separate, and they just slide on. There's a couple bucks for this pick. I don't really buy the $10 or $12 picks, so. And then a wiper insert that I bent up myself. And let's see what we got going on here. Sometimes I'm working with really heavy tension, and sometimes not a lot at all. So I guess you'll see me loosen up and tighten up on it. I'm on 3 right now. That was a good click, and I think you might have heard that right through the speaker there as well, so that seems like it's working out. I'm working with 5, now I'm on 6. 6 feels like we got some bind. Oop, slipped off of it, but it did move up a little bit. This lock likes perfect placement. If you're hitting pins from the side, there's a good click and a little bit of core movement. That was on 6, so if you're hitting pins from the side, it will sometimes just they don't want to move at all. So you'll hear that I'm not going to talk about pin 4 much till the end, and that is related to that magnet. We will talk about that shortly. So 1, 3, and 6 are set. 2 and 5 must be spools. Just trying to get a good grip while I'm on the camera here. Alright, there we go. That should do it. Working on 2. Good counter rotation. Good click. Now, on the spools, I give them a little bit more of a tap. On these spools, because I have gutted this one time, on these spools there's a ledge after the spool. So it's nice to kind of make sure they're where they need to be. Alright, we're on 5. Working on placement before we start pushing. I think I might have actually worked it right through its spool. So let's confirm some stuff. Checking placement, pick placement on 6. Alright. 6 and 5 both feel great. One feels good. So does 2. So does 3. All right, now we're going to work on this interactive element. I guess that's what you would call it, a magnetic element. So the pin is magnetic. I have this pick that I lasered out myself, a feeler gauge. These picks are not magnetic. I had to test around for something that was magnetic. Even a bunch of my wiper insert is not magnetic. But this pick, made out of feeler gauge, tool steel, is. So what I'm doing is I'm going to go in, I'm going to feel past 1, 2, and 3, and it's going to dip in at 4, because 4 has 0 spring tension. And you'll see why. So 4 is buried in there. I actually have to go like this. So I'm going to try and get it to attach to the pick, and I'm going to try and lift it out like in a forward and up motion while I ease up on tension. And that's going to pull the pin up to its to its shear line, not push it to its shear line, which is really interesting. I'm lightly pulsing tension. Well, I'm not even really pulsing. I'm easing, then pushing down. All right, let's double check our placement. 1, 2, and 3. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's lifting and dropping. So I may still have a pin that needs to be set that I messed up on. 1 feels good. Let's check 2 spool. Oh, there we go. So I lifted it up and it was dropping. It had caught its shear line. Number 2 was still on the ledge of its spool and needed to be pulled, or needed to be tapped past its spool edge. So that's great. Sorry, I normally move the camera after I'm done talking while I gut, but I got a little anxious there, so I'm gonna go ahead and just not mess with that for a minute. Alrighty guys, let's go over what we got in here. At first glance, it looks pretty normal, but you'll see that in chamber 4, there is no spring, number 1. Up here, just so you know, that is just drill protection. It came out of that side of the cylinder. That just wouldn't pop out. But so there's no spring here in chamber 4. Let's just start from the outside of chamber 4, and then we've got, looks to be brass standard drivers for 1, 3, and 6. 2 and 5 are these spools with the ledge in them. Let me see if I can get those a little bit closer to the camera for some good, there we go. See, they have that ledge in them, so kind of adds another little layer of, hey, let's screw the picker on this. And then in the key pins are all I think steel. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Now let's look at number 4. In the driver chamber, it's this long brass rod pin of some sort. The pointed end goes up in the Bible away from the key pin, and it just sits in there. And I'm used to picking Euro locks like this because in the US, our Bibles are up. So when I first played with this lock, I was able to pick it really easily that way. And then the person who got this lock for me said, no, 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 now pick it Bible down. And so I did, and ruined my life for a little while. So here is the special pin. It is very powerful magnet. I mean, not very powerful, but you know, a pretty good magnet in there. I'm trying to get that focused in for you. See that? And it goes all the way through. Now it's hard to see from the back, but I think it goes most of the way through. Unless, yeah, you can see there's it's been pressed in from the back here, and there's actually a ledge around it. So it's like they made a shell, put the magnet in, and then pushed a core in from the back. So there's that. And what I had to do with the Bible down was basically I was catching this, lifting it up above the shear line, and I assume that that's what our key does too. And they catch from pretty good ways away. It does not take much to get a hold of that. Let me see from the back here. Not much from the back, but from the front, it grabs on. Let's see how close we can get to it. I have some fun with it. I haven't played with it much. Oop, I was gonna start waving it side to side, and then it just grabbed. All right, so pretty close, and if it's in a, you know, oh well, and this is a magnet too, so let's see. Oh yeah, it's already moving from back here, so yep, so alrighty. Anyway, I just was really interested in that. It actually added quite a bit of pick protection to it, because if you are finding this lock in the wild, you're not going to necessarily know which chamber has which chamber has the magnet in it. Let's see if it is chamber 4 in this other one that I have. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait. I'm not great at counting pins. 1, 2, 3. It's chamber 4 in this lock as well, so it may always be a chamber 4 pin. That said, definitely adds a level of pick resistance. So this second lock's actually going to come up for sale at some point on the LPU Discord if anybody's interested. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for watching. Any comments, questions, feedback, or suggestions? I'm happy to hear it. Have a good day.